Welcome back. Music has been proven to have far-reaching positive effects on mental health, especially for children and young people. Not only does music encourage self-expression, but it can also allow young people to explore their own identities, develop emotional resilience, and improve self-esteem. I want to get a little bit more into this topic of music with Giuliana Conti, Dr. Giuliana Conti. She's the Director of Equity and Education, also the Director of Operations for the Music Workshop. Dr. Conti, good morning and welcome to WVON. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Rufus. I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, it's good to have you. You've been involved in music, it appears, all of your life. Tell us
Yes, I have.
Tell us about that and tell us about the Music Workshop.
Absolutely. So I started my public school music experience in fourth grade when my mom chose viola for me because she thought I would get more jobs when I was older because there's fewer violists. And I continued with that through undergraduate school, and then I became a teacher. But, you know, what's really interesting is throughout my childhood, what I was listening to was actually very different. I'm a first-generation American, and so much of the music in my house was global and different. So it really had me asking, what happens when we give more variety to children as they develop, and what kind of messaging do children need to have throughout the school day to really understand what's out there musically? And with Music Workshop, that's exactly what we do. And I'm so proud to be part of this organization because we offer free curriculum for all teachers, substitutes, music teachers, general educators, on different genres, careers in music, and cultures from around the world so that students are exposed to music that they are familiar with and can learn more, or to music that they've never heard before. And we've found that teachers absolutely love having this in their classroom for their kids.
And so for you and for the children in those classrooms, how do we see, I gave some general conversation about music and its impact, and I did that really after listening to the music that came on here that kind of wakes us and keeps us alive and alert. But what's the impact that music actually has on children, on people?
Great question. Yeah, and I have to agree with you. I've had Earth, Wind, and Fire stuck in my head now for 30 minutes ever since you played it. And it was like my second cup of coffee. You know, we all connect with music in such deep personal ways. And so for students who grow up and for children at home who grow up with music that is present in their house, maybe in the car, and especially in the classroom, it can really help students build confidence, help learn to make choices for themselves. They can learn how to self-regulate emotionally by being able to choose music that meets their moods and controlling their emotional state, which is so important, especially after COVID-19, when we saw how much students were struggling with isolation and loneliness. And it can also help students build empathy and social connections. And as you said, identity formation, you know, knowing what you like and what you listen to can really help figure out what kind of person you want to be, who you are, where you want to go. There's just so much that music offers, especially around mental health.
So one of the first things that gets removed from schools is music, is extracurriculars, are the things that may be beyond just what happens in the learning environment directly. Some of the things that happen and help with some of these other processes. Give your reflection on the cuts that happened, particularly given that you started in fourth grade playing music.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a really unfortunate reality because, you know, we don't make the decisions as music teachers or as general educators about what stays in our schools. And for the schools that are not able to have a music teacher, especially at the elementary level, the responsibility to meet the national standards falls on the classroom teacher, who may not be prepared necessarily or confident with a music program. But what I would encourage people to think about is, what is the ideal music education? Because if we can have instrumental programs in our schools, that's fantastic. if we have budget cuts, I suppose the glass half full perspective would be that we still have the rest of the school day to incorporate music. Substitutes, teachers, general educators, all teachers are capable of including music, and especially music listening, because it's such a foundational part of our connection with music. And I think that's what Music Workshop does so well, because we offer these free resources for any teacher for any class period, and music can be incorporated in so many different subjects. So I would never want schools to go without a formal music program. But as you mentioned, having grown up with learning an instrument in the school system, I can't picture my life without that. And at the same time, I can't picture my life without a lot of diverse music artists playing at home and on my Walkman and on my Discman, and you know, the evolution of all this technology that we still do have available to us. So in many ways, we are never really without music in schools, but we definitely need as much as we can get for students.
So you did go back talking about Walkmans and Discmans and all those things. The Music Workshop hasn't been around for that long, just about 12 years, but you're doing work throughout this country. Tell us more about how you actually reach these teachers and get music back into our classrooms in some way, form, or shape.
Yes. So we have over 30 free curricular courses online that is a free account. You give us your name, you tell us how many students you might be teaching. So this is available to parents too. You can create your own account if you want to watch our free curriculum, and it comes with worksheets. And you can do it at home. And in the classroom, we are also international. So we serve more than 14,000 schools around the world. And we are in 102 countries. And we are so grassroots that this, as you said, has been around for 12 years. And we operate entirely by word of mouth, because we have so many teachers that share us with other teachers and with other parents. So all in all, across the world, we are impacting and have impacted more than 6 million students. In Chicago alone, we are in over 500 schools. In Illinois, we are in over 500 schools. In Chicago, we're in 67 schools, but that impacts 240,000 students. And really, we just try to get people to understand that there's no trick here. It's free. So you can really create an account and download all these videos on different genres and cultures and careers in music and instruments, and learn about the world of music that's out there.
Let's talk more about how people actually do that, because when you said 522, I'm like, that's almost all the schools. But we have a lot more to go with 67, a lot more children that can be impacted. We'll talk more with Dr. Giuliana Conti about the Music Workshop and what it does and how it does it when we come back right after this.
More of The Morning Show with Rufus Williams coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
I'm Dr. Michael Noor, the Ethnic Health Report. The Surgeon General has identified loneliness as a public health crisis. This, coupled with studies emphasizing friendship's role in preventing aspects of dementia, it's clear we're facing a significant issue. I've been fortunate to have many close friends and family, yet many Black men I've noticed at my later age. We often neglect the small efforts needed to maintain connections. Success can lead to better neighborhoods or jobs that isolate us, eroding our sense of community and making it harder to keep old friends or make new ones. As we age, a feeling of irrelevance can creep in, leading to social isolation. I make it a point to reach out to my friends, especially as I grow older. Many face health issues or have passed away. A simple phone call can lead to more in-person interactions and a walk down memory lane. According to science, staying connected will benefit my health in many ways, even if they are things I'd rather forget. And remember, health is your biggest asset.
WVON TV thanks you for making our premiere of Shame of Chicago a huge hit. We've got more great content for you this month. Watch the romantic comedy Million to One. See what happens when a social media influencer falls for the chef at his big brother's wedding. Will he choose family and love or his 1 million followers? Then relive the Black exploitation era with the series of throwback films from the controversial Rudy Ray Moore. And coming later this month to WVON TV is CBS 2's Dorothy Tucker's Explosive Report, Investigating Injustice. Watch the untold story on how hard Black women have been hit by crime in Chicago. WVON TV is easy to watch on Roku, Apple TV Plus, Amazon Fire, on WVON's app, or on any device at VON.TV. WVON TV is our culture on purpose. I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, a Pfizer vaccine.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com. WVON TV thanks you for making our premiere of Shame of Chicago a huge hit. We've got more great content for you this month. Watch the romantic comedy Million to One. See what happens when a social media influencer falls for the chef at his big brother's wedding. Will he choose family and love or his 1 million followers? Then relive the Black exploitation era with the series of throwback films from the controversial Rudy Ray Moore. And coming later this month to WVON TV is CBS 2's Dorothy Tucker's Explosive Report, Investigating Injustice. Watch the untold story on how hard Black women have been hit by crime in Chicago. WVON TV is easy to watch on Roku, Apple TV Plus, Amazon Fire, on WVON's app, or on any device at VON.TV. WVON TV is our culture on purpose. This report is sponsored by USPS Ground Advantage. Simple, affordable, reliable. Every business faces challenges, but shipping shouldn't be one of them. Turn shipping to your advantage with USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage. Simple, affordable, reliable.
If you're not out of the bed yet, then what are you waiting for? It's the WVON Morning Show with Rufus Williams on 1690 WVON.
Welcome back. We're talking to Dr. Giuliana Conti. She is the Director of Education and Equity Director of Operations for the Music Workshop. And Dr. Conti, I want to make sure we get this in because this is Mental Health Awareness Month. And you've mentioned some things earlier about what music does, particularly with young people. Let's talk some more about what some of the benefits are of music and how that impacts children's mental health.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's so much to be said across all the research that's been done between developing children and music. Some of the things that really come to mind as a former music teacher are confidence. Having students who can choose music to help with their emotional state and to really feel like they know who they are is such an important piece to mental health because it helps them feel grounded in themselves and it can help reduce loneliness. Music can also help students develop empathy and become stronger global citizens because when we listen to music of different cultures and backgrounds, we're also learning about people we're becoming familiar with different sounds and different ideas. At Music Workshop, we've really tried to harness this, I would say, not a gap, but it's definitely a major opportunity that music education and music-empowered education has in supporting children's mental health, because even just combating loneliness and being able to strengthen your own identity is such a big piece of post-COVID education. We actually built a professional development program for teachers on music for well-being so that any teacher can learn how to incorporate music across the classroom, K-12, to support mental health and well-being in schools, because it's such an important piece of development, socially, academically, emotionally. And we just really believe that music has to be a major part of the school day. It is a core subject, and we know that it can be so powerful in how children develop, see themselves, and see the world.
So, just in thinking about that aspect of things, and when we think about the ability of music to remove stress and anxiety, to help remove depression, to connect with other people, is there also another aspect of music that really does help with some other skills that improves learning and opens some other parts of the brain as children are developing?
Yes, there are. And when I think about, sometimes we have messaging about how music can support other subjects. I would first like to say that it's really important we know that music is worth it in and of itself, but it does also help support other academic skills, especially like language arts, understanding social studies and history. It can even support understanding math and science by the different, well, it depends on how it's applied, but for example, songwriting is such a big part of music. And if a teacher is able to incorporate songwriting into their classroom within a language arts setting, students are not only learning about music and language arts, but they're also able to develop creative skills that can help them in other subjects and in further grade levels, because these skills add on to each other. They scaffold. And so when we think about how music can support all subjects, it's really that music throughout the school day is an opportunity for students who may feel like they learn differently to access that knowledge, to access that. I will tell you, not being a super strong math person growing up, if there was any part of my lessons that were framed within a discussion about music, I definitely would have felt like a stronger learner. And we know that not all students learn from textbooks, not all students learn by memorizing. And so by incorporating music across the curriculum, students can succeed in other subjects at a higher rate because we're giving them more personalized opportunities to learn.
Well, my children, who certainly aren't children anymore, both play the piano because it seemed like something I'd read said that it would improve them academically, particularly thinking about the logics in math and those kind of things. So whatever did it, and I hope it's just hereditary, it worked out well for them. Talk about with the in Chicago in particular, you said there are 67 schools here impacting over 240,000 students. How do more teachers get involved? How do more schools get involved? How do we get more children engaged in what the Music Workshop has to offer?
Yes, thank you. Anyone can find out more information at musicworkshop.org. And for any parents that are listening, or even community members, I would encourage you to go to your teacher and ask, do you know about Music Workshop? Do you have an account? Are you incorporating it in your class already? And because it's free, it's a phenomenal way as a parent to connect with your teacher, with your child's teacher, and to see if it's something that they can integrate into their classroom, whether it is a music teacher or a general educator. And I will say, you can even go to the office at your child's school and say, did you know that there's an amazing resource for substitutes? so that for any substitutes who may not have enough of a lesson plan to fill the school day, this is something that a lot of substitutes use as music workshop because it's free. It's across different genres. For example, our History of Rock and Roll is a phenomenal course series in 3 parts, and we know that kids absolutely love it. And there's so many classes that can go into. And if you go to musicworkshop.org, you can see where we are across the country, and you can create your own account. And it's really just as simple as that.
Simple as that. It is simple and life-changing in so many different ways, and also something that would be great for children to be doing this summer when there's some downtime.
Yes.
Dr. Giuliana Conti, Director of Education and Equity, Director of Operations at the Music Workshop. Thank you so much for coming on this morning and sharing this information with us. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Rufus, for having me.
All right, be well. Let's find out